Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 10, Episode 7, The Last Supper. This episode opens at Melissa and Joe Gorga's house, and Joe just got back from Teresa's and he tells Melissa the news that Joe's appeal got denied. And again, I feel like it's some bad acting going on because she doesn't seem that shocked, okay? She's like, oh no. But it really seemed like she already knew. Anyway, they do talk about the fact that Teresa has only told Gia and Gabriella. And Melissa's like, why? And he said, she thinks Melania and Adriana are too young. Okay, I don't think she thinks Melania is too young. I think she thinks Melania is too emotional. But Melissa said that's not, she's got to tell them. They're going to find out some other way. They're going to find out online, or someone at school is going to say something. And Joe's like, I know, but you know my sister. She's stubborn. So, I don't know. She needs to tell them. They need to hear it from their mother, period. I understand not wanting them to know, but they need to hear it from her. Now we're in the car with Dolores and Frank, and good God, I don't know, something smells horrible in the car, and Dolores is like, well, you know, Frankie, he forgot, he left a fish in the car, the dogs ate the fish, and that's what's happening. Okay, it sounds horrible. Not only are there big dogs in the car, but the dogs ate old fish? Ew. Anyway, Frank cracks a window and they head into this lighting place. They're looking for stuff for the new house. And then Dolores tells Frank about Joe losing his appeal. I guess he has one more chance. That was the second, and then you can do it one more time. And she's like, you know, but what does it cost them every single time? And he's like, Dolores, it's a lot. Like tens of thousands of dollars every time. Anyway, so Joe is telling Melissa that he told Teresa that she needs to think about how much money is going down the drain every time she does one of these appeals. And Melissa's like, oh my God, Joe, no, are you kidding? This is for their daughters. You have to keep fighting. They want their daddy home. Then we jump back to Frank and Dolores is saying, yeah, no, you gotta know when to stop fighting. So everybody is torn. I mean, it's a mess. It's just a mess and a bad situation. And honestly, this might sound really cold, and I do believe it's unfair for the girls, but Teresa shouldn't go broke fighting for this idiot who broke the law. Okay, now we're over at Jennifer's house, and there's a tutor there. Well, I thought the tutor was only there for Olivia, the 6-year-old, but apparently the tutor was also there for Gabriella. But anyway, Olivia doesn't want to do her homework. So she takes her books and just throws them behind her head. That kid. And do you think she was disciplined for that? Oh, no. Okay, well, your uncle is coming and he's going to give you a music lesson. So why don't you go lay down now until he gets here? And off she goes. Anyway, we also find out that Gabriella is still being bullied. One of the friends of the girls who used to be her friend threw a ball at her head. And instead of apologizing, said, well, you should see the ball coming next time. Jennifer's trying to tell her to just move on. And, you know, there will be people that like you. You don't need to worry about these people. So, and then the tutor started helping her with her homework. So she's got one good kid. Oh, guys, we get an In My Culture confession cam. Jennifer's brother, Steven, is a music teacher. So he's coming over to give Olivia her lesson. And Jennifer explains to us that in my culture, the sons are supposed to go into the father's family business, which was the jewelry store. So they weren't very happy that he wanted to go into musical theater. In other words, they don't like that he's gay. In her next confession, Cam, she said, "In my culture, it is a shame upon the family to be gay. So my parents know that Stephen is gay, but they never speak of it." Okay, so while she's having this conversation with him, Gabriella is like over at the counter and she's listening. And then Olivia comes up and she's like, "Can I have my lesson?" So they go off to play the piano. And Gabriella said, "Mom, come here a minute." And she went over there and she whispers, "Is Dai?" I guess uncle. I don't know what that means. And she asking her if her uncle is gay. And Jennifer kind of paused for a second and then she said, "Yeah, he is. But does that matter?" And she goes, No, it doesn't. It's just that I've known him my whole life and I never knew that. So, maybe if one good thing is coming out of being on this stupid show, it's things like that, where a family keeps things more secretive. And I don't even really have a problem with Jennifer not telling the kids. Because what she said was, "I just didn't think there was a reason to draw attention to it. I mean, you love who you love and that's all there is to it, and it doesn't matter." It kind of goes with my philosophy that I hate that gay people feel like they have to come out to their family or their friends or something like that. Nobody else has to do that. Straight people don't have to announce their sexuality at some point in time. I didn't have to tell my mom I like boys. There's a part of me that just feels like it isn't fair that it needs to be this like declaration or something, because who cares? That's cool. Whatever. So in that regard, I kind of understood Jennifer saying, I didn't think we needed to draw attention to it, or it didn't need to be an announcement. In other words, if it came up organically, okay. I don't know. I think she handled it okay. Let me know if you guys do you think that was okay, the way she handled it? Or do you think she was avoiding the subject much the way her parents are, avoiding it? Everybody knows, but nobody's going to talk about it. Is it that kind of a thing? I don't know. Next, we are at happy hour with Teresa and Danielle. Yes, Danielle has forgiven her. What does she have on her? Or they've got dirt on each other. Something's going on here. Because why does Teresa get away with everything, you guys? Why? Danielle was pissed that she told all the ladies that she slept with Marty. And now it's, yeah, well, I was a little surprised. But I'm not mad at you, Teresa. Thank you. Oh, God, because I think I had a little too much to drink. Okay. Let's blame it on that. Anyway, Danielle asks her about Joe, and Teresa tells her that his appeal has been denied. And she's like, "Do the kids know?" So she said, "Well, I told Gia and Gabriella, and I wasn't going to tell Melania, but she overheard, because I'm on the phone all the time calling lawyers, and it was not good." Yeah, I bet it wasn't. I mean, that kid takes things hard. Yeah, I mean, she probably takes things harder than any of the others. Although, Gia is pretty sensitive. And to be honest with you, Gabriella might be very sensitive too. She's so quiet, but I just think that kid takes everything in, and you might think she's okay, but, well, who am I kidding? It's just, they're all affected by this. It is a mess that he got himself into, and that, his daughters now have to suffer with. So anyway, she tells her, "You know what, Teresa? You're in mom mode. Sometimes you gotta be in Teresa mode." "Well, what do you think? I don't want to drink a whole bottle of tequila? I do." "Well, then drink up, Teresa." Should have mentioned earlier that she already ordered 2 drinks. It's happy hour. So then Teresa asks Danielle about Marty, So are you two together? And she takes this very long, dramatic pause. I wouldn't exactly say that. Teresa, but you live in the same house together. Danielle, you know what? You know what's better now? Going down to the kitchen in the morning and he makes coffee and I make tea and being able to say good morning. Good morning. That's better now. Next, we are over at Margaret's house, and Marlene, what are you doing? Marlene is like wrestling with a block of cheese and a sharp knife. I don't know what's happening here, guys, but I'm just hoping at the end of it that Marlene still has 10 fingers. Margaret's like, Marty's coming over. Just put the cheese and the fruit on one platter, and I'll put crackers on the other. Then Joe walks in and she goes, do you think Marty's sleeping with Danielle? No way. That's what I said, but everybody thought I was crazy. All right, we're going to bounce back and forth between Teresa and Danielle and Marty, Joe, and Margaret. Margaret said, Marty, listen, we think the world of you now. I'm so sorry that I called you last week, but the girls were saying that Danielle's saying she's sleeping with you. Long pause. Marty, well, I wish you wouldn't talk about that because it's my personal life, but we're in a good place right now. It's very peaceful. Then she said, really? Marty, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Danielle is only nice to people when she wants something from them. And then she explains again that Danielle has 30 days to come up with the $2 million to buy Marty out and stay in the house, or she has to pack up and get out so that Marty can sell the house. And she thinks that Danielle will do whatever she can to stay in the house. Cut over to Danielle and Teresa, and she said, I hurt Marty, and I'm sorry for that. I needed to apologize to Marty because I humiliated him. I did, and I feel bad about that. But I want the house. Okay. Yeah. She wants it to be a legacy for her children. Her children didn't grow up in that house. She is so full of crap. That house has nothing to do with her daughters, who are grown, by the way. Yeah. It's just, to have a house of that caliber at that price. And she has a co-signer, and that's Oliver. Yeah, the Duke. And Teresa said, yeah, but if you get back with Marty, then you don't need Oliver. And then she says, it's not that I need Oliver. I could have gotten a loan on my own, and I was in the process of it. But the interest rates were astronomical. Oh my God, she's so full of it. She's like, yeah, we're in the middle of getting the mortgage interest rate approved. So, yeah, I see a future. And if it doesn't happen as fast as it needs to, like legally, the 30 days, that's what cozying up to Marty is all about. So he will let her extend it, right? Oh my God. Back at Margaret's house. Marty, you don't see a future with her. Well, I'm just saying, can I say what's going to happen 5 years down the line? I don't know. But Marty, oh my God, seriously. Teresa's making it sound like you two are back together. So are you sleeping with her? I'm not going to answer that. Cut immediately to Margaret's confessional. He fucked her. Men are idiots. Next we are with Jackie. She's got her 2 kids in the car, and they're heading over to Poppy's, her dad's house. And the little girl wants to know why Poppy and Nana don't live together. Are they divorced? And she goes, no, they're not divorced. They're very happily married. They just don't live in the same house. And I remembered that from last season. A little bit of a strange situation, but, whatever works. It's kind of the opposite of Danielle and Marty when you think about it. They're divorced, but they live in the same house. These two are married, but live in separate houses. You know what? Everybody finds what works for them. So as soon as she gets there, she is looking for something to drink in the fridge, and she sees all this old expired food, and now Jackie is cleaning out his fridge as they talk. We find out that Poppy's quite the gambler. Jackie wishes that he lived closer to her, but he wants to live by Atlantic City for the gambling. And Jackie remembers when she was a kid that he would take her to the casinos. And I think she remembers that fondly. Anyway, Poppy says, everybody come here. I have something I want to show you. And Jackie's like, oh God, he does this to me all the time. So she and the two kids sit down on the couch, and he puts in like a home movie. And it's Jackie. And she said, oh, that's my junior prom. And he says to the kids, who's that big girl? And her daughter says, you were pretty. And then Jackie said, I was over 200 pounds. And she said right after that is when she started losing weight. And he said, well, I got news for you. You're a good inspiration to kids who are heavy. And she said, well, yeah, Dad, but I battled a terrible, terrible eating disorder. Her father. In front of the two little kids, by the way. Well, I got to tell you, it was almost worth it. And Jackie goes, are you insane? Stop. You don't even know what I went through. He goes, look at you now. Oh. This whole conversation is making me like itchy and really uncomfortable. I feel like I want to scream through the TV, have your children leave the room, please. Especially your daughter. Because I promise you, little kids hear things. They might not totally understand everything. But don't do this in front of them. Anyway, she's like, I almost died. And he's like, no, you didn't. She goes, don't tell me what I didn't eat anything for 10 years. It's insane. Anyway, he's like, all right, well, we're done with this. And he turns off the video. So I'm sorry, what was the point? I'm really, really confused. You wanted to show her kids how fat she was? Is that it? I don't know, very weird and not super healthy. Moving on. Okay, now we're back at Teresa's house, and she comes in the house with all these packages because she's hosting Easter, and she's got all this, plastic eggs and baskets and grass and to make Easter baskets for all the kids. And she's like, Gia, I need your help. So they start making baskets, and they're talking about Joe, and Gia's like, he called me 5 times in one day. It's horrible in there. It's the worst it's ever been. She's talking about ice. Now Joe Gorga comes over, and they're telling him that Joe's, been just lashing out. He blamed Teresa the other day, saying that she should have made him a citizen. There's a flashback to him saying, you could have picked up the phone and called a lawyer and made me, made me do it. Obviously, he's going through a lot, and he's at his wit's end. So then Joe said to Gia, do you blame him? And she goes, no, he's in a 2x2 with 5 other people. It's insane. And he said, he's losing it in there. And anyway, long story short, Joe is trying to tell Gia he's only hanging on for you girls. Maybe you need to tell him it's okay to let go. And Gia starts crying. And she said, I don't know if I'm ready to let him go yet. Now we are at Dolores' house, and she's got a big spread for Easter. And she said, when I first married Frank, I cooked, I cleaned, I wanted to be the perfect housewife. Now, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. So I catered. And there's a beautiful spread, and all her family's coming over. Mom, dad, cousins, supposedly David. There's a discussion about it. Frank Sr. is like, Dolores, is David coming? And she's like, of course he is, Frank. It's Easter. Listen, I don't ask for much. So when I ask him for something, he should do it. He should do it, but will he? We'll see. When her family gets there, she's like, Dad, how you doing? How you doing with your diet? Good, real good. She goes, yeah, okay, good. What'd you have for breakfast? I had a bagel and cream cheese and jelly. And he goes, oh, and I toasted it. She goes, Dad, toasting it doesn't make it any healthier. Then Dolores said, Ma, what did you have for breakfast? Eggs. Dolores. Chocolate eggs? Her mom. Oh no! Seriously? Not good. I do feel bad for her because she wants them to be healthy and she wants them to be around. I don't know. Not looking good. I do not think they're going to change their ways now, Dolores. Okay, well, David manages to show up. Late, but he shows up. And so everyone's razzing him about it. Dolores' dad wants to know if, is there anything I need to know about as her father? And David's like, let's just finish the house. One thing at a time. We'll finish the house. And then her cousin's like, see, when you're with Dolores, you get her whole family. And David's like, yeah. He's got his elbow on Frank's back. As long as Frank comes with, that's all David cares about. Okay, I'm literally skipping the whole next scene. It's at Teresa's house. Joe calls from ICE. The phone gets passed around. Everybody's crying. Nona was already crying because when Teresa said grace and she mentioned her mother, and that just set Nona off, crying. Oh my God. Joe's crying. Joe Gorga's crying. It ends with Adriana really breaking down, the 9-year-old. So Gia, who is the best girl, the best sister, the best daughter in the world, says, come on, let's go. And she walks her out, someplace private, off camera. But it's too much. It's too much. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. It does end with Joe Gorga trying to make everyone feel better. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, the laughs just keep coming, you guys. Nono is not feeling well. Yeah, he was wheezing earlier, and at the table, I told you he broke down, he's crying, and they kept feeling his head. He didn't seem like he had a fever, but, I guess he has an oxygen tank nearby. Anyway, I'm not sure why, but Teresa said in the confessional, my father's had pneumonia more times than I can count. Of course, I mean, that could be 2, but doesn't sound great. I worry about him, you guys. I don't like it. He went in the other room to lay down, and they're at the table, and Melissa had brought sprinkle cookies as a joke. And Joe said, listen, this family, we've been through a lot, and we got to stay strong, and we have to be there for each other, and we are never going to fight over stupid stuff like sprinkle cookies ever again. And so he's like, everybody's having one, and he even made Teresa eat one. And that is where this episode ended. I don't know when the next episode is going to be on. We might be skipping a week because of Christmas. Even if they're not, I'm going to be skipping a week because of Christmas. So I will see you sometime for the next episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to Jill Informed. Give this video a like if you did, and leave a comment down below. However you spend your holidays, with your families, with your friends, with your pets, alone with a cup of tea in the Hallmark Channel, whatever you do to make yourself feel better, enjoy yourselves. Here's a big hug from me, and I will see you next time. Bye.